Surviving the End of the World. I know that might sound like a sensationalist title, but this is actually what we're talking about today. This is the idea of the video, and I'm really glad that I have the opportunity to do a video like this to be able to, reach hopefully thousands of people. I was recently made aware of something by a really good friend of mine. Some of you might be familiar with him, Ray Gano of Profazine. Many of you who are probably familiar with his work, or at least the interviews that I've conducted with him on the Sharpening Report, you'll know that he's got a wealth of information and wisdom, and he's always willing to share it, which is great. Um, if you haven't had a chance to check out the interviews, you can find them right on my channel. I'll have the links in the show notes, but they're on my channel. He's been on the Sharpening Report a couple of times now, and always has really good information. He's one of those guests where when he comes on, I learn something new every time. And each time that he's come on, there's been at least one thing that I've been able to take from the interview and apply to my own life that has made it better. For example, when the first time he came on, the whole Ebola epidemic thing was real. That whole topic was really popular. So we decided to use that as a way of trying to get out information on how to keep yourself healthy and disease free and stuff like that. Something he suggested was Sambucol to help boost your immune system. And usually I've been kind of skeptical of things when they say they're all natural remedies or miracle cures, or anything like that. I'm usually real skeptical about, because a lot of those, we'll just be honest, a lot of those people just want your money. They'll put out some, sugar pill or something, and then they just want your money, and they can claim anything they want about it. But Sambucol was different. That actually worked. And it's not like I'm making any money from promoting it or anything. It actually works. Shortly after that episode aired, we got my family and I came down with the flu, because it was around flu season. We all came down with the flu, and I hadn't had the flu at all for about 5 or 6 years, maybe a little longer. The way the flu's always worked with me is I won't get it for years, but when I get it, it is really bad, really really bad for a really long time. And well, that came about. We got the flu, and now I have two kids and a wife, and we all caught it, and I'm like, oh great, we're all going to have to deal with this. And we're in a position financially where it's, we can't really take time off work or, do anything about. I mean, this is what I do for work. I make videos and, do interviews, but even that, it's a time-consuming job, and I can't really take time off of that. Especially for like 3 weeks at a time or something. And my wife, she has her own business now, Neshama Essentials, and she works at a bank. She can't take time off either. So we were kind of worried, thinking, what are we going to do? And it was I remembered the interview, because I just did the interview with Ray. And I told my wife, Christina, well, why don't we try Sambucol? Ray says we can get it at any, like Walgreens or CVS or Rite Aid or anything like that. And it's an Israeli invention. Basically, it's elderberry juice. It's from elderberries. It's super concentrated, and elderberries are supposed to have the properties of boosting your immune system. And I told Christina, Ray said on the show, when he and his family take this, they're able to feel better in like a couple hours. And I didn't think that was possible, but I've known Ray for a while, and I've known him long enough to trust him. He's not somebody that's just trying to, and he doesn't get any money from like Sambucol sales or anything like that. So there wasn't anything like in it for him. He just wants to help people. So we went and got some, and lo and behold, it really did work. We felt better after a couple hours. And I mean, we weren't completely cured, but we felt better, just like Ray said. And we had not, we kept taking it consistently for a week, I think. and it was completely gone. We had no, we were able to continue working. I mean, I was still doing interviews and stuff. Nobody had any idea that I was sick, and it was great. So that was the first one. The second one, that it was pretty recent. We talked about our like finances, like keeping your finances in check, and what you can do to help uh, keep track of your finances, even in something as extreme as an economic collapse. What to do to prepare for something like that. So he gave us a lot of great advice that we put into practice. For example, he brought up the Amazon affiliates program, which I wasn't aware of, and I decided to try that out, and it worked out great. It is working out great. He had some other suggestions. I mean, it was like a 3 hour long video, so there's a lot of stuff in there. He had suggestions for me, for my wife, for her at home business, how to be able to work taxes in your favor. Like, I mean, it was just a phenomenal episode. It was really good, and it really helped us a lot. Um, so we did that interview, and I was able to take a lot from that as well, and apply it to my life and the life of my family. And every time Ray comes on, we benefit from it. So all that leading up to the other day, Ray messaged me and he gave me a link to something that I really, looking at it, I really believe this is important for anybody listening. Um, and again, I mean, it's not like I don't. I know, like, when I have a book, or if I have like a audio CD set or something like that, I'll use my channel to sell it on there, because why not? That's what it's there for. Uh, but I'm not the kind of person that ever is going to be like a sellout and just try to sell people things that I don't believe in, or that I haven't tried before, or anything like that. It's just not me. My overall intention here is to provide information, good information, the best I can. Because I know, just like everybody else, I'm going to have to stand before God someday, and I'm going to have to give account for everything that I've done and everything that I said. I don't want to have any. I don't want to have any more negative things that I've already, than I already have to deal with when that time comes. So, because we all are human, we're flawed. I don't want to start taking advantage of the church, and that is something I take seriously, because in the Bible, I, people were killed for that. Like, God killed people for that, for doing that sort of thing. I mean, look in the book of Acts. They promised basically, overall story. They promised the money to the church, and they ended up keeping it for themselves, and God struck them dead. So, I mean, I take this stuff very seriously. I'm not gonna tell you should or shouldn't get something if I don't actually believe it's important. Anyway, so there's that. I just, sometimes I get comments from people saying that I'm just trying to sell stuff, and that's not true. But that's just one out of every maybe 100, or maybe every 1,000 or something that says that. But anyway, so I wrote this blog about what Ray sent me. He actually wrote his own post, but I'm going to go through mine, because mine has his in it. He gave me permission to do that. So and if you want to check out this article, you can do so. My blog is joshpeckdisclosure.blogspot.com, or you can just look in the show notes. I'm going to have it in there. But I wrote in here, I was recently made aware of something by a good friend of mine, Ray Gano of Prophezine. Many of you are probably familiar with his work, or at least the interviews I conducted with him on the Sharpening Report. He has a wealth of information and wisdom he's willing to share with the rest of us. Right under that, I have the two interviews that I've done with him. So if you want to see those interviews, or listen to them, they're both just audio. You can do so there. Okay, so then longtime readers of mine are familiar enough with me by now to know I will not promote or suggest anything unless I personally believe in it and agree that it's beneficial to all of you. Well, this is one of those situations that I feel I must make you aware of, some vital information that can help you prepare and survive what's in store for the world. And, that's the whole thing. It's about preparing for what's ahead. We know biblically, prophetically, we're going to have to deal with some pretty rough times. And this goes beyond the whole rapture debate, because I know, there are those who are pre-trib, and I'm a pre-trib rapture believer myself, but there are those, in my camp that will say, well, we don't really have to worry about all the bad stuff because we're going to be out of here by then. Well, no, that's not a good excuse. There are Christians in the Middle East right now being massacred and raped and just all sorts of inhuman, just awful, awful, horrible, tragic things that they have to go through, yet the rapture hasn't come yet. So there's a good chance that we're going to have to deal with a lot of this stuff too. I mean, the Bible promises it pretty much. Jesus promised it. If you're a follower of Jesus, you're going to deal with persecution. Um, and a lot of times, we look at some of the stuff that we deal with on a day-to-day basis as our persecution. Like for me, sometimes I might get a bad YouTube comment, or somebody might cuss me out in a comment or email or something like that, and then I'm inclined to think, well, that's persecution, and it is, but I mean, compared to what they have to go through, like in the Middle East, and what our brothers and sisters have had to go through all throughout time, that is minimal. I mean, if that's the worst that we have to deal with, we've got it pretty good. But the Bible tells us it's not going to be like that forever. Like, we're going to have to go through some pretty hard times. So that's why I'm really passionate about this. That's why I think it's important to prepare. And like Ray says, we need to. God tells us we need to prepare. We need to be prepared. We can't just keep living our lives and just say, well, God will take care of it for us, because that, like Ray said, that's testing God. We don't want to do that. Um, look at how that pattern of behavior has worked in the Bible. Uh, I mean, read the book of Lamentations. Oh my gosh, read that. Jeremiah. I mean, there people have been through hardships and have been believers, but have still had to go through hard times. Look at the book of Acts. They've still had to go through hard times. So it's for the church, honestly, and I know this isn't a popular message, but I'm not a Joel Osteen or anything like that. It's just not good enough to say, well, God will just make life perfect for us, or God's going to take care of He will take care of everything, but it's going to be towards His good. But we need to be prepared ourselves, so we can allow Him, because again, we have freedom of choice. We have the choice to do what we want with our lives, and if we want to ignore all the signs, and if we want to not attain knowledge, of the times that we're living in, we have that choice. But like Hosea, what is it? I think it's 6:4. I might be wrong on that. But the Bible says, "My people," this is God speaking, "My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge." Because they've rejected knowledge, they've rejected me, and they won't be a priest unto me. All that stuff. You should just look up that verse on your own. But that's what we need to focus on, not what some preacher tells us, or I don't know. I don't want to get on too much of a tangent there, because I am already oh my gosh, I'm already like 14 minutes into this video almost, and I haven't even gotten to the main content. All right, Josh, shut up. Okay, so anyway, again, I'm just passionate about this. I really believe in what Ray's doing. I believe it's important to be prepared. Um, so this is from Ray Gano's website, and he's given me permission to share this and everything. So I'm pretty much just going to read this word for word. So this is Ray's words from Prophezine. He says, "Many of you know that I have been writing and collecting many different resources on living a more simple life. Fact. We know that the U.S. cannot maintain its spending the way it has been these last 10 to 12 years. We are in debt up to our eyeballs, and we can't go much farther. Sooner or later, our debt will crush us, and we will see economic collapse. Fact. Our nation has chosen evil instead of good. We no longer stand with Israel. We do not protect the innocent. We parade our sins for the whole world to see. We have basically become a modern Sodom and Gomorrah. This will eventually this will eventually catch up with us, and God will have to do something. Natural law demands it. Several years ago, I compiled 7+ gigs of information and created the most comprehensive digital library that will help the common man learn how to survive just about any sort of natural or man-made catastrophe. I call this library TEOTWAWKI. And basically what that stands for, it's the end of the world as we know it. It's just an acronym for that. Learning how to survive the coming storm #1. In The End of the World as We Know It, Learning How to Survive the Coming Storm #1, I have files covering the following topics. Now this is really interesting. Alternate energy, a simple methane digester. And let me tell you, all of this is real. It's not, when we look up this stuff on YouTube and stuff, we see a bunch of stuff that just, people fake videos, people do. This isn't anything like that. This actually, it's real. So a simple methane digester, a biogas plant, build your own 12-volt DC engine generator, water, fuel cell, and it says there's 17 files in all for that. Really interesting stuff. Finance, and this was the topic of the last time that I had Ray on my show. Personal finance, assets and investments, home-based business, futures and trends, preparedness, and in this there is 53 files with approximately 500 pages of information. Then there's food storage, preservation of fruit and vegetables, a guide to butchering deer. And let me tell you, I live in Michigan. Deer is big here, and it's awesome. It's some of the best meat you could get because it's fresh and natural. It's not like, I like beef and everything too, and chicken, but it's, that stuff's pumped with preservatives and antibiotics, and it's just pumped with a bunch of chemicals. Deer isn't really like that because it's not. I'm sure there are stores that you can get it at, but it's not like you're going to walk into your local Walmart and get it's just not really a popular thing across the country. And deer meat, if you've never had it, it is the best meat you could ever have. I've had just about every meat in existence, and it's by far the best. It's really rich if it's cooked right. Now this is the problem with deer meat. Some people don't cook it exactly right, and it gets really tough. But if it's cooked right, it's you'll just have to try it. It's great. So a guide to butchering deer. How to can butter, how to preserve eggs, about root cellars, use it or lose it food storage, and there's 16 files in all in that section. And then it says other topics are living off the land, man-made disasters, medical and first aid, odds and ends, preparedness, raising animals, special ops, kitchen warfare, water and compost. And then there's a section here. Hey, what about us folks who live in the city? And, this I found interesting, too, the information here, because I live in an apartment. It's not like I can go hunting in my backyard or anything. I just live in an apartment. So Ray says, I received many emails telling me that they can't raise goats, build a greenhouse, or know anything about solar energy and making your own biodiesel. People just wanted to know how to deal with living in the city in the end of the world as we know it situation. To answer that, I created The End of the World as We Know It, the city version, Learning How to Survive the Coming Storm #2. To this library, I added 27 different folders and topics. And this is great for really anybody, but there's a lot in here that I appreciate it. So, for example, seniors. I got many emails from concerned seniors on living and surviving in a city environment. Home safety, self-protection, and how to do these things were a high priority. I've gathered some great information, checklists, and very informative videos specifically to meet the um, the end of the world as we know it senior. Disabled. Now, this I really like because I personally am disabled. I'm physically disabled. I have Trevor's disease, and it's an extremely rare bone disease. There's not a whole lot known about it. There's been more information in the past few years, but basically, it's a degenerative bone disease. It's in my right hip, my right ankle, and my right knee. I recently, last year, I had to have a total hip replacement on my right side because of this debilitating disease. So I thought it was really cool that Ray added this in here for disabled people. It says here, there are many Prophazine insiders who are physically disabled in one way or another, and it was my desire to try to help them by equipping them with excellent information and videos as well. For example, disaster preparedness for a disabled person takes on a whole new meaning. There was a tough assignment, but I have found some great resources, checklists, and yes, even videos too. Let me tell you, that's just for that alone. It's great. And technically I'm disabled, but I'm not wheelchair bound or anything like that. I'm not completely. There are people that are more disabled than I. Ray covers all that. So whatever your level of disabledness, you're gonna be taken care of here. Emergency prep. Ray says, I took into consideration preparing with limited space, so I have really sought out a lot of information geared to that mindset. For example, ever think of what you can put in a 5-gallon bucket for storage? What about 6-day mobile resupply bag just in case you are stuck at work and can't get home? Grab and go, bug out bag, pre-planning for emergencies. Foraging in the city. Didn't think it was possible? Think again. If it came down to it, could you clean a squirrel? A rabbit? What about a pigeon? There are lots of edibles in the city, but do you know where to look? So very interesting stuff. And it says, finally, a folder I really wanted to highlight and one I'm very serious about. Going underground. Folks, in these days and times we're living in, we as Christians may need to go underground. But once we are underground, then what? How do we maintain secure communication, phone security, even personal camouflage, and learning how to be the gray man? This is a reality that can take place. We need to be prepared no matter what. On-the-job training could literally cost you your life. Don't believe me? Ask our brothers and sisters in communist China. Can you imagine what it would be like if Bibles were outlawed? What about even going to church and meeting with each other? And that's an interesting point that I touched on earlier. We see this in other countries. There should be nothing that tells us that it can't happen in America. It's going to happen in America. The Bible promises it. It's going to happen. So we may not know when, but it's better. I've said this in a lot of blogs and books and a lot. It's better to be prepared and not need it than to not be prepared and really need it. So you're not going to go wrong. It's not like you can prepare and then not really need it, and then you get up to heaven and God's going to criticize you for it. That's not going to happen. That's not like a sin. So you have to be prepared. Being prepared is following what Jesus said and what the Bible says about the times ahead of us. All right, so that's what he says about going underground, and then here. Here he gives like a synopsis of what the two versions, of his files have here. There's the end of the world as we know it, number 1, which includes learning how to survive the coming storm. Library number 1 is 3.47 gigs in size, over 280 ebooks, PDFs, 15 plus hours of audio lecture, 23 videos you can watch on your computer. We have included some great freeware to help you survive the coming years. And then to the end of the world as we know it, the city version number 2 is 3.71 gigabytes in size, 27 different folder topics, 535 different files, including over 25 videos you can watch on your computer. So if you are just getting started with preparedness, or you just want to have a better grip on saving money day to day, this is the complete library for you. Now, I know that there are going to be some people that are listening to this and thinking, well, he's just in it for the money, or Josh just wants to get money or help Ray get money or something like that. Let me I just, and I understand that's a valid point. I'm not I I don't criticize people for believing that, because honestly, I believe that about most things. When somebody tries to sell me something, I believe that. I think that they don't really care about my betterment. They just want my money for themselves. Of course, we're inclined to believe that because there are so many people out there that's like that. Um, Now, I've been an author, researcher, uh, I've been making videos. I've been doing this for a few years. Not nearly as long as Ray. Actually, Ray was one of my inspirations when I was first starting out. But I've been doing this for long enough. If Ray was just in this for the money, if that's all it was, let's see, 280 ebooks. He can take that to CreateSpace.com. He could make paperback books, which would be it's a print-on-demand company that basically every researcher in the fringe Christian arena uses. I use it. He could take all 280, and this is just for the first one here. He could take all 280 ebooks. He could make, since they're already in PDFs, CreateSpace. You have to make your books into PDFs, and then they'll print them for you. He could upload all those. He could do it in under an hour. It wouldn't take very long, and he could just have 280 paperback books out there that would cost a lot of money. I mean, he could make a lot of money doing that. 15 plus hours of audio lecture. He could just take that. I mean, this right here, what you're watching right now, this is a single image and there's just an audio track under it. He could take that, upload it to YouTube, put a few ads in it, and make money that way. And he'd make, let me tell you, he'd make way more than what he's asking. I mean, it's not like I make a ton of money doing this, but and I'll just say right here, he's saying for a PayPal gift of more than oh wait, excuse me, order our special to end the world, whatever, number one, and the city version for just $50. PayPal a gift of more than $50, and you get both one and two. And then he's got a link here, which is http colon backslash backslash tinyurl.com backslash help dash support dash prophecy, and I'll have the link in the thing. But $50 for all this, he could make so much. If he was just in this for the money, he could make a lot more than that, especially with how many people know about him. I mean, he's more out there than I am, and I could take this and make more if that was the true purpose. And that's just so the audio lectures and the ebooks. 23 videos you can actually watch. He could just put those on YouTube and hook up AdSense to it. A really easy thing to do and make way more than $50. And there is some freeware in there, which obviously you're not gonna make any money off that. But and then again here in the city version part two, 535 different files, including 25 videos. So that's like what, 48 videos altogether. If he was just in this for the money again, and I know I'm kind of harping on this point, but it's just, we researchers, we do get this a lot, where people think that we're just trying to sell you something. And my whole thing is I want to build trust with you guys. I don't want you to think that about me, because that's not what it's about. If I just want to sell you something, I'll just sell you something. I'll just sell you a book or a CD set. But I mean, even then, there's still going to be information in there that's it's going to be worth it. Um, so I just wanted to provide an answer for that right away, for those who might think that this is just to make money or something. Um, I mean, of course. And the other thing too, it's not a bad thing to sell stuff. We have to do that. Like Ray said in uh, the last interview, um, sorry, excuse me. Like in the last interview, he said, well, everybody makes money for doing something. We all have jobs, so why don't we get to make money with what we do? We're not selling the gospel here, and let me tell you, like with me and with Ray and with really any of these guys, if you contact us and ask us questions, we'll freely give this information out. That's the thing. We're not in this for the money. If we were, we made just the most bonehead move you could make. We made the wrong choice. There's not a lot of money in this. Um, and actually, I like how Ray does this. He does it with. It's not that you're buying a product. You're donating to his ministry, which is really important because it's all about preparedness. It's all about how to prepare for what the Bible says is up ahead. How to prepare for that. You support that in a very small way, and he gives you this as a gift. I want to read something here because this actually kind of inspired me about the whole ministry support financial thing. Because we're a lot of us in the we're all afraid of being we don't want to be the next Joel Osteen. We don't want to be the next Creflo Dollar. We don't want to just be in it for the money. We don't want to get to that point. Honestly, I think in the fringe Christian movement, it's pretty much impossible to be anyway. It's just not as popular. But uh, my good friend Gonzo Shimura at facelikethesun.com. He's a filmmaker. He did Age of Deceit 1 and 2. I'm sure most of you out there are familiar with him. If not, check him out. Age of Deceit 1 and 2, and he's got a show with his co-host Basil, Canary Cry Radio. I've been on there a few times. It's awesome. But on his website, he has this thing, Principles of Giving, and this is on the support page. He writes, as somebody who preaches the gospel asking for financial support, this ministry stands by the principles preached by the Apostle Paul in 1 Corinthians 9, 1 through 19. And I'm not going to read this whole thing because it's a lot, but it talks about this issue of is it right or wrong to ask for support if we need it? And of course, that's fine. It's a good thing to do. It's a good thing to support your ministries. But anyway, getting back to the topic at hand. So again, where I left off, it said if you're just getting started and you want a better grip on saving money day to day, this is the complete library for you. Order our special The End of the World as We Know It #1 and The End of the World as We Know It, the city version, for just $50. And it says, once we get your order, we will add your email to a special download area, and you will get instructions on how to download this entire digital library. These two libraries have been stored in a zip format, and all you need to do is download it and double-click to unzip the files. There is a wealth of information you will be getting, and I know you will not be disappointed. We are asking that folks give a gift of just $50 for both The End of the World as We Know It #1 and 2. And I'm telling you, you're going to want both. Even if you don't live in the city, it's still important information. There's still a lot in there that you can gain from. And then it says here, PayPal a gift of more than $50 to get The End of the World as We Know It 1 and 2. And there's a link again. It's tinyurl.com/help-support-prophazine. And when you do that, make sure that you type in "sent by Josh Peck." Let Ray know where you heard about this. Type in there. It'll either be in like a donation description or comments or instruction. There'll be a place where you can type something like a little message. And if you don't see anything like that, you can even just send him an email at ray.gano, that's GANAO, at prophazine.com. So that email is RAY period GANO at prophezine.com. So let him know where you heard about this. And then he says once he gets the PayPal notice, he'll send an email with the link to the download page. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Go ahead and contact him at the email that I just provided. So again, to kind of wrap this up, this is not something that I would promote unless I truly believed in it. Ray was kind enough to send me all the files to review, and let me tell you, the information is important, it's vital, and you're not going to find, I've never found anything like it. You're not going to find anything like it anywhere else. And personally, I for one, I'm incredibly grateful that I now have access to this information to protect and provide for my family and for myself. So I could personally speak to the validity of this information. Again, it's not like I do this all the time. It's not like I go out and promote. If I have somebody on my show, I'll say, get their book, it's good, but I don't have anybody on my show that I don't think would be beneficial. And I especially don't like do a whole lot of videos like this where I'm just using the whole video for one product. But I really do believe in this, so I can speak to the validity of the information. I highly suggest every reader of my blogs and viewer of my videos, do yourself a favor and at least check it out. What's the harm? At least check it out. So I guess that's it. This is one of the longer daily video updates that I've done, but again, there's a lot of stuff to cover here, and it's important for everybody, every Christian, not even just the fringe Christian movement, and really, I'd say the whole world, if they believed the way that we do, if they believe in prophecy, Bible prophecy and where the world is headed, it's important for everybody. You don't need to be a Christian to want to know how to grow your own food or how to fight off an epidemic or keep control of your finances. It's for everyone. So I highly suggest it. Again, it's not just a money grab. If it was that, this would be a completely different package, and I would not do a video on it if it was something like that. So yeah, I guess that's it. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to comment in the section below. Even if you want to cuss me out and tell me I'm a shill and whatever, go just go ahead, just get it done and over with. But in all honesty, I love you guys, and I just want to put this information out there. There's no obligation. It's just like when I put out the information for donations to my own ministry. There's no obligation. If you have any questions about it, pray about it. Pray about it, see what God says, and then follow His instruction. That's the best thing that you can do, and it's really the only thing you should be doing. So just do that. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. It's not every day I do videos like this. Usually we do a video on just some weird thing that's in the news and we talk about it, like floating cities or asteroid impacts or UFO sightings or anything. We usually do just weird stuff like that. But this I thought was interesting, and I couldn't in good conscience, I couldn't at least not tell you about it. I mean, again, there's no obligation. I can't just let the fear of what somebody might think of me, deter me to not tell the rest of you who might actually be interested in this about it. So again, the links in the description. Make sure you tell Ray that you got it from me. Just put in there sent by Josh Peck or whatever, and let him know. And thank you for watching. Subscribe, share, comment. Do all that stuff. That would be great. That's it. So, as always, thank you for watching. Take care, and God bless.